from PAB welcome you on behalf of the 49th International Film Festival of India in this press conference today to be addressed by the cast and crew of Indian Panorama opening film OLU. It's from PAB welcome you on behalf of the 49th International Film Festival of India in this press conference today to be addressed by the cast and crew of Indian Panorama opening film OLU. It's from PAB welcome you on behalf. I'm sorry for the technical interference here. Opening film, OLU, a Malayalam film in the feature category, and Kharvas, a Marathi film in the non-feature category. Today we have with us Sri N Karun, the legendary Malayalam filmmaker who has several national and international awards to his credit. We have also now Esther, who is joining in now. His recently directed film OLU is a tale of a gypsy girl who mysteriously survives under the Kerala backwaters where she was being sung by certain antisocial elements. Later, the fate brings close her to Vasu, who is depicted in the movie by Nigam, an young painter. Out of love, she empowers him to create paintings that will change his life. The movie OLU blends with reality and fantasy. Cast of the film includes lead actor Shane Nigam, who was acted in various television series and movies. He started his career as a child artist. Leading actress Miss Esther Anil acted in several Malayalam movies, and of course everyone knows her by the multilingual movie Drishyam. And we have also the crew of the movie here. We have the producer A.V. Anub. We have the camera Radhakrishnan here. And we have actresses Kani Kusrudi. We have Kadambari. And writer Ramakrishnan also here. We'll have a photo opportunity at the end of this presser. The next opening movie we have here is Kharvas, a Marathi film in the non-feature category. The director, Mr. Aditya Subhas Shamble, a young filmmaker from the state of Goa who has also won National Film Award for his Marathi movie. Noted Marathi actress Miss Veena Jamkar is the lead of this movie. She is not here right now. Who plays the role of Ashwari in the in the film. She plays the role Asavari. The movie is about the mixed feelings of motherhood of a woman. Asavari, a painter by profession, after losing her baby, which was still to be born, withdraws to her ancestral home in a remote Konkan village. Her struggle to overcome this tragic trauma is met with ultimate provocation when she accidentally learns about a pregnant cow due to deliver in their own cowshed. That's a very scintillating scene from the movie, of which you will definitely get an opportunity. Many of you have already seen the movie. Now we request the director Sri N Karun to share his experience about the movie OLU.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your kind presence. Thank you so much for your kind presence here. I'm really honored that I could able to bring this film as the opening film of International Film Festival, which is 49th, one step below the 50th year. And then I was also involved in IFFI many times with the earlier films also. And I'm so glad that the film is produced by, he himself is an actor, also a promoter of good films. And I, without my support from other cast and crew, like Shane, Esther, Mr. Ramakrishnan, Pierre, and then Radhakrishnan, and then Isaac, and Kani, I could not able their devotions, and then probably most important thing is that the overwhelmed support from the correct, honest devotion to make this film as a kind of an honest expression of themselves, which made the film into such a way of addressing a fantasy. Basically, fantasy, as you know, it is a dream for everybody. Without dream, who is we are there if we don't have a dream. And the dream is mainly our supporting imagery for all of us to image that we have fantasies and we have thoughts that we need to look it into a different world also, which is poetry, which is fiction, which is cinema also. And all over the world, this idea was always experimented, always brought into the visual forms through this kind of attempts all over the world. And in practically, in Indian cinema probably, we may see this as kind of an experiment, but it is not. It is an idea that you are seeing your own images on a mirror, where the white screen is the image for you as the mirror. And that way, I'm so happy this has been received very well here. And it is my beginning journey from here to other opening areas also. I'm glad that we could able to, that you understood what I wanted to say. That itself is giving so much strength for me to make my next film also. Thank you.
I would like to ask Mr. Aditya Subhash Kamble to share your experience on this movie.
Well, this is my first press conference, so bear with me. 4 years back, I was here in IFFI, and as a delegate, I was really, lined up in the queues and everything. And after 4 years, my film is being selected as opening film, which is a very great feeling altogether. And it also kind of boosts my confidence that anything is possible. You just need to focus on your work, craft, and dedication is the most important key to do that. Regarding Kharvas, it was a very intense story about motherhood, about silent mother, which is being played by Veena Zamkar, who has done a splendid job. And after a mother loses her child during the delivery, a lot of complications, and we have something that is very important, which is called stillbirth, when the child is just, it's actually fully matured, but it actually dies. So what was our main goal in doing this was trying to understand that many a times in our society we really try to skip thinking about such kind of problems. If it is about a woman, we just pretend as if we don't know about it, or there's no problem at all in the first place. So this story is about the struggle of a mother trying to find peace in a very turmoil kind of a situation when she has to fight on two fronts. One is herself, the fight which is within herself as a mother, and again the second fight is very important, most important rather, is the fight with the society, the perceptions of different people regarding the same issue. So we tried to do that, and the film was shot in Goa. Many people ask me whether I'm a Goan or a Mumbaikar. I keep telling them I'm both, because my mother is from Mumbai and my father is from Goa, so I have both the backgrounds. And it was shot in Goa for 5 days, and it was an incredible experience because the most challenging aspect as a new filmmaker, I've done only one film before this, which won the national award, and this is my second film, to be very precise. And the most important challenge was trying to configure and execute the climax of this film. I'm sure some of you must have seen, and people who have not seen can always watch it. It was very challenging because shooting in a cow shed, 16 hours of shifts and 5 days of shoot, 20 hours of footage for only 6 minutes of climax was something that was very, very difficult and very challenging right from the start. But yeah, I'm glad that it was pulled off very well, and finally we are in IFFI. We got a very good response from the audience, and we really, the main goal of this entire story is not about getting some kind of a glamour or people talking about you, but we really want people to talk about the problem which we are trying to depict, which is about problems of women, which are not being talked about. So that was the main goal, and I think it has fairly played its game, and it will continue doing that again. Very important backing that I got in this entire project was, of course, the actress Veena Zamkar, Swati Bowlekar, and Sandesh Kulkarni from Mumbai. It has many Goan actors, local Goan actors like Dilip Desai, Gauri Kamath, Vardhan Kamath, etc. And most importantly, I got a backing from my producer, Madhukar Joshi sir, because in such kind of projects, when it is a short film, the biggest challenge you start with is how do you earn back? And you need to have that kind of a backing so that that story can be told in the real way. And always our main goal was that the film has to be told in such a way that it is not really demarcated as a short film. It's finally cinema. I mean, I'm really of that belief that there's nothing like a short film, like a feature film. It's just the demarcation of the time. But essentially, everything has to be cinema. If you have a drama in your story, people are going to watch it and you're going to tell your story. So that's it. I mean, it has been an amazing experience all across in the entire IFFI, and I'm really enjoying it. Thank you so much.
Shaji sir, silence has been a recurring motif in this film. So this has been seamlessly enacted by Shane. So Shane, sir, can you just brief our audience about your relationship with Shane on this movie?
The first feel of seeing them on the screen, I was looking for the innocence. Both of them have the feel of innocence. The idea of seeing is also an expression of silence. You don't explain anything, but by looking at their visual forms, with look, feel, and everything, that was more important in this film. And there are many layers also which I wanted to give. When you don't smile, still there is a pain inside. And still there is a happiness in that thing, which I have to express through this many, because both of them don't see each other. And they are looking for, it's a painter's feel is that painter has to paint something which he has not seen, which he has to be imagined. So how a love, the girl says that, please paint my dream. So how do you do that thing? So there needs a lot of innocence and transparency between understanding who has not seen. The heart, basically, you don't know where is the heart and mind together. And people say the mind is heart. I don't know whether it is the brain is the mind. So you don't have any connection there. So there is a love between the brain and the heart. Therefore, that is a silence. There is a small gap in between, but that silence is too much, or rather that controls our all of life. That silence is more important. So it has to be portrayed through someone, an actor, both of them, an actor who can understand the grammar of it, feel of it, the time of it, and the seconds of it, and then milliseconds of it, which is that they explained. I am sure it is been brought into your mind also, into your brain also. Thank you for that.
Shane and Esther, to get an opportunity to work with Shaji sir is an opportunity that everyone asks for. So what are your experience in working with sir?
So the thing is, everything was set there like that, and I just walked in, and I'm here. It was, if I say a word, it is small. If I don't say anything, then it will be like silence. What? That love between brain and mind? No, sorry. Yeah. Yeah. That is what. It is what I want to say is, what I understood from the movie is there is purity. You know what is that? I don't know. I'm experiencing that soon. I don't know. There is purity in everything, you know. This movie, thank you so much, sir. Yeah, that's what. We all have to thank, I think. This kind of movies should come. I really believe in that. Because at the end, we all have to sleep in peace, right? There should be love in our hearts. Everyone should love each other. Thank you.
So, OLU is a beautiful film, a beautiful story where I'm portraying the character of Maya. Thank you, sir, for giving me Maya. Like he said, it's innocence, it's love, it's purity, so many things. And where you don't see the person and you still have to feel his presence and, you know, talking to him. And you have to have all the emotions. It is a beautiful character and, you know, I'm very, very lucky to work with him. Such a legendary director. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I have nothing more got to say. Thank you so much.
You know, we have the producers here. They are the ones who make such wonderful projects happen. So, AV and Noob sir, can you have a word, your motivation and your experiences in cinema industry?
As a producer, I am really proud to associate with Shaji sir and present a movie like OLU here in the IFFI. I have been producing movies right from 2007. I produced about 20 movies in Malayalam and Tamil. That includes short films, documentaries and feature films. And I have got recognitions also. But it was my long-time desire to work with a director like Shaji Karun sir. And it was not happen just like that. We discussed many subjects. I think more than 5 years we were discussing various subjects. And finally, this was only a plot in his mind, which he mentioned. And from there, the scriptwriter, the famous novelist Ramoshn, T.D. Ramoshn, he has developed the subject. And I'm very happy now that it was a very good teamwork. In fact, there are so many national award winners, including camera or makeup or any area, if you look at it, music. All talented people have worked in it. And two young artists like Nigam and Esther, their performance. All together as a producer, I'm very happy.
Joshi sir.
Hello, friends. I'm not basically I'm a theatre person. And how I entered in this film, that Mr. Aditya Jambhale, 2-3 years back, he has done one short film, that Aba Aitaino. And somewhat I was associated with him, I was working with him. So I inspired from that. And then while talking, he told me the Kharvas story, the theme of that. And I liked that. And I thought that, why should I not enter in this field and see what happens? But I want to say that I am very glad, and as a producer, I wanted to say this is an extraordinary success of the film Kharvas. This was mine first time I'm appearing in this. This is the baby born this of me, what I to say, and this was my first efforts to produce something and in the non-feature film, and he gave me the chance of that, and I had confidence regarding the Aditya Jambhale because he was so working hard and all these things, and so at last we got this in Indian Panorama in the non-feature film to inaugural function that our Kharvas was shown. Thank you.
Special thanks to both of these producers. Now the stage is open to questions. We can have questions.
Any plan of dubbing the movie in Hindi or any other language?
This question is to Shaji sir.
See, for this particular film, I don't think that it speaks to you, whether it is English or whether it is Malayalam, whether it is Hindi. I think this image will retain, irrespective of the language. But and it's the old. My wish is that it should be seen by all over the world. So. Therefore, the language doesn't come. But let us forget about my idea is not to dub into the other language. An original work has to be remain as the original work, like a painting. The other things are duplicate for me.
How are the underwater portions shot with Esther? All of, there's so much dialogue and so much happening underwater.
Thank you for that question. See, nobody can speak under the water. That itself is a fantasy for that reason. So therefore, and she was there in the green mat, and she's not been, because generally the actor get energy from the other actor to perform. So she's there alone, and she has to give a birth to a baby also. At this age, how she can imagine it? It is also a very difficult process. No? So all those things are imaginations and thoughts and feel to translate your own thoughts into the screen. And we had almost 6-7 months of VFX done. And then fish, and then the water, the flow of the water, and the plants. The plant itself is not plant. That is Jnaneshwari. That's another character. They speak to them. The way it translates her emotion to their plants also, and day and night, and then the moon, and then all those things, and then the lightning. Everything has to be planted, and then thoughts and energy has to be come through the visuals only. That visual has to be, it took 6-7 months to redo. But my VFX people like Mr. Panikar, who has been doing for the Axel, they were very kind to do support. That's why I said their honest support gave me enough courage to do. It was a huge, like Avatar, like Titanic. Titanic was basically, half of the film was shot in the studio with the sea and everything. So I think VFX is not meant to show it as a VFX or anything, but VFX is a part of the integral tool of the telling the story. That's how it did. So everything fell into the right place because they all loved the film. That's the reason. And Mr. Pierre is my Vanaprastham producer is also here. We just generally discussed a lot of things. And my sound recordist here, he has to, how you hear the sound inside the water. He experimented with a lot of things, how to make it, how the sound inside the water, sound outside the water, which has to be a totally different tonal quality. That also has been done by. Yes, absolutely.
In the water, we could feel that difference in the sound also.
So that was very tricky one. You cannot overdo that thing. At least get some nuances here and there, but you get it. And it should be surrounded. When you speak in the water, then the sound will have a different quality also, which nobody has heard or seen. So that is also has to be then. Then Radhakrishnan is there. And of course, all of the actors, like our Kani, her name is Kusrudi, that we call. She herself has that ability to portray. She's from the theatre background. And Sandeepa, for that matter, she's a dancer from the end. All those things brought it together. The small element, putting together collages, put a film together.
Hello. I'm just talking not because I was part of the film. I was also moved by the film, and also when I heard the story, because from my childhood, it was this thing that we all fall in love when you see someone, or when you hear about that person. So that way, this film was something did to me, because this is something that I used to think from my childhood that can't you fall in love if you don't see the person and just an idea of a person, and then you interact. So thank you for thinking about something like that. And also,
adding to that thing is the music side of it, because I don't want the music in it. Then
absolutely.
So the silence part of the music was done by Isaac, and then my writer, Ramakrishnan, he has a mind to fantasize. So that is sufficient for me.
Maya and the painter is being concretized through a Buddhist motif, Garuda Mayura. So what was your motivation to bring that Buddhist motif in this fantastical movie?
Kerala had a strong influence of Buddhism many times. Many of our reminiscences are still being looked to, that there was a presence of Buddhism. And many people believed also for that reason. So Buddhism in that way, if you look at it from the Western Ghats down to even Ajanta, Nalanda, all those learning places were very strong influences on that, because all of India is strong. Takshashila also for that reasons, if you look at it, Buddhism is there. So the Buddhism has given a spirituality for me, because the most important tool in that film is moon. The Buddhism has the most strongest symbol is the moon, and as well as also the lotus, and then the part of it, both the functions. So therefore the moon in Sri Lanka, full moon days, I think they are on public holidays. And there is also a relationship between the sun and the lotus. For the reason, lotus comes when the sun comes. They look at each other. When the sun goes, then it goes down. So there is a platonic love between the lotus and the sun. So that is also in a poetic way. So these symbols are being used constantly, occasionally to tell my story. That's why the Buddhism came into the integral part of telling the story. And then they have the idea of the bird. Many of the religions have the idea of the, and this girdam and all these are symbols for the Buddhism. So the spiritual part, we too have Hindus, everybody, every religion has their own symbols on the birds. Dodam, Girdhamayura, Jnaneshwari, and then the rebirth. And Buddhism has the very strong influence of the once somebody dies, and then the spirit one takes 45 days to enter into someone's womb to say that that spirit can choose with whom I should enter. That is also a Buddhist philosophy. All those things are brought into.
One question to Aditya. This intense scene of cow giving a birth, you must have faced many technical challenges for that. So how did you pull it off?
Firstly, it was very important for us that we get it done in such a way that the audience feels that it is really pregnant. Now, it's impossible to shoot with a pregnant cow because you'll never get a permission in the first place, and it shouldn't be done. So we wanted a cow that can actually portray, and its size, all the characteristics are in such a way that you can actually cheat in a perfect way, and it doesn't feel like you are bluffing the audience, so you're not making them believe it. So firstly, it was, trying to have the appropriate cow in the cow shed. That was the first. It was like auditioning kind of a thing. We had to see different photographs, and we finally said that this will be perfect. And then later on, of course, my DP, Ravi Ranjan, who is from Mumbai, he had to come down on the location 3 times, and we actually had a mock shoot about what are the ways in which we can actually shoot it. Because right from the start, we needed elements that can make it look really authentic and something that the shot breakdown has to be very perfect right from the start. But in such kind of scenario, because this was my first time, I really realized that planning is not something that is going to be working at all in the first place, because we have everything on paper, you have all the shots, you have all the planning, scheduling, but the moment you get inside, the entire scene is going to be dependent on what that cow does, and you can't really tell her action, cut, nothing is going to work. So the only way we felt, because I'll just discuss a very interesting fact that happened during the first day of the shoot in the cow shed. We entered the cow shed, we started rolling at around 7 p.m. in the evening, and the first 2 hours went without a single shot that could have been usable. So we had a lot of pressure on our heads that whether this is going to work or not. And somewhere down the line, my work in theatre and the approach that we have in theatre somehow helped, and we decided let's do it like a theatre, let's do it like there is a drama happening and the cameraman is really not going to come inside at all, because it is that kind of a scenario wherein you can't really block things perfectly. So we said this is the area that is given to the actors and this is the scene that has to happen, and I'm not going to say a cut, and we're going to just follow that pattern that we're going to roll. The cameraman shouldn't be interfering at all in any kind of a way. And we had a DP who understood the gravity of that situation. He had the understanding why we have to do that kind of approach. So then we started shooting, because the biggest problem was lights, because there were so many lights that we had to light up the entire scenario. And once you put the lights on, the cows have a different tendency. Suddenly they had a pattern jahan pe you have only 4 or 5 people working in that cow shed, and suddenly you have a crew of 25 people inside. So then we had to, squeeze it out. We had to see how we can replace the sound team. So they were literally sitting on the roof. So I had the sync sound team sitting on the roof. Camera attendants were sitting in another room parallelly. And everything was executed in that way. I was the only person there, and everyone was just, it was like a choreography. It was like a dance choreography. And the height was, we had to always keep this on which cow is of which behavior. For example, there were entrance, it is a nice alley. that was very important for me in the location, because it gave me a nice depth. Because when Asavari enters, she's not just entering the cow shed. It is like she's entering entire different world. For her, it is a new adventure. It is a new call to adventure. So that depth was something that was important for me in that location. But the problem there was, I wanted it to be filled up with cows the way it is naturally. I couldn't say that, okay, we have an actress coming from Mumbai, so let us check out some cows and let's figure it out to just shoot it in 4 or 2, something like that. So there were few cows which were very aggressive. There were few which were okay. So the entire crew had to develop a chemistry with every cow. Entire crew, including the spot boys. And that helped us. And finally, we did a very long shifts around. As I told before, we had to actually shoot it. 20 hours of actual shootage. Shoot was actually conducted, because the most important challenge in this entire film, if you see, you'll realize that we had to keep the track of what that cow's pain are. How she is reflecting and what is her stage. So there were two things. One was Asavari in the climax, and one was that cow in the climax, and both had to go hand in hand. So any time if you lose the track of the cow, it was something that would just be a failure. So then we had to take a lot of footage of the reactions, everything, and then execute it with long takes. And of course, handheld was the only option there. So we did it accordingly, and it was executed because of the support that we got from the entire acting team and actors, because it is very important that the overtime thing shouldn't be calculated in such kind of scenarios. One cow doesn't cooperate, then everyone is going to come and say to the director, yaar, overtime ho gaya hai. So we were so lucky that everyone understood the gravity of it, and they said, till we get the okay take, we have to get. And sometimes we always have this saying, ki when you try your best, things fall right on the place. So we had this climax shot wherein she comes out and there's long thunder and everything, and it's raining. And of course, when we are doing it for a short film, rains and all, I'm an engineer myself by degree, so we always go for a jugaad kind of a thing. We never say ki yahan pe rain machine lagate hain, ye lagate. That is never an option for us. So we had all that placed. But at the last shot which was taken during when she was coming out, we got the actual rain. It was raining heavily, we got actual thunder. So sometimes it's like destiny. People, the entire universe is going to support you once you have that dedication. So it was very amazing and challenging.
Do we have further questions from the audience? Yes.
You're asking me?
Yes.
Researching for the film, of course. Now, as I said, it was inspired by true events. There are few things which I have seen myself in the life, and the very important this about the story was the undercurrent of the milk. That was very important. What amazed me the most was why this question is very interesting is because the very reason of not knowing it actually made me understand that is very important. So when such kind of traumas happen in a woman's life, we are अगर मैं बात करूँ a male counterpart, we are always not so known about the facts of what is going on around. So I, as a person, I was really not aware of everything that is happening. So I said ki even the medical reasons, what she goes through, what happens, forget about the emotional turmoil. That's a different chapter altogether. First of all, medical thing, that is a science. Do we know about it? If we don't know about it, we should know about it. Because if we don't know, then there is no way we will understand the gravity of the situation. There will be no way we are going to come out with a solution. So then there were very long sessions which we took with actual people who have gone through such kind of situations. We also sat with doctors, and then we realized, what and how things are happening. What are the real problems that she has to go through? And along with that, again, as you said, research. I had to also do the research about cow and a calf. So it was on the two fronts. Even I had to sit with a veterinary doctor. What exactly happens? And I was amazed by the similarity in both the things. Both the things are going in a similar way. Everything is pretty similar. So that was something that was very important. And yes, we got support from doctors and even the patients who were generous enough to discuss such kind of matters without taking it it was very risky for me to ask them in the first place. But they were okay with it, and they said ki I'm okay to talk about it because finally I have someone to say that you want to talk about it. So they need that space. These kind of people need space. You give them the space, then the things will happen. Right from the point the problem happens, our society has a tendency to say move on. Yeah, you have to move on. I'm not saying you shouldn't move on, but let her cry for a minute, let her cry for an hour, and then you have to say you have to move on. You can't expect that to happen the minute that tragedy has occurred. So that was something very important, and I felt we have to do justice with it, and I think that's the reason why we made the film in the first place.
Any more questions? Both these films of opening of Indian Panorama, OLU and Kharvas, have a similar undercurrent, that is painting. Both of these movies, and both of these movies climax ends with the lead character drawing in a stroke of brush. I think that's not coincidental. I think it is providential. With these words, let's conclude this press conference. We'll have a photo opportunity here. The lead actress, we have the cast and crew of OLU here. Can we come to the stage and have a photo? We'll have a separate photo and a duet photo.
Okay, so because we have a DOP who has come, so okay, yes, yeah.
Yes, please.
Murali.